tend to describe myself as a peace activist. I could say I'm a warmonger turned peacemonger. I used to serve in the military for 22 years. I agree with most of what's been said so far in all the sessions, so I would try not to repeat the very good points already made. I will concentrate on just a few points which I think are important. I tend to be a contrary sort of chap, so some of the points you may not fully agree with. The first issue, and again it's the title of this plenary session, building the movement against NATO, war and militarisation, which clearly is what we're all about. And it's a great idea, and clearly mass movements are very important in the long term. In the short term, I believe we need also to combine the passive mass movements with more active peace activism. There are times when we should behave, I believe, more like a bunch of cats rather than a herd of sheep. As you know, cats are not very easily herded, sheep are. Margaret Darcy is a very good example of one of those cats, and you could say that when Margareta, in principle, jumped over an 8-foot fence, went down to the Romashan airport and stopped the plane's landing. She was the cat among the pigeons, if you like, or the cat among the hawks. And it also means being creative and varying our tactics on a regular basis. In order to gain publicity, we need to be dramatic. Margareta is a frail old lady, and as I described her, and as she was described in the media, jumping over the fence, it cost the intention of the Irish media, and she was very successful in doing that. In the meantime, we've got 2 of our parliamentarians to climb over the fence, go into the airport and attempt to search 2 US warplanes just a month ago. And again, because of our parliamentarians, this managed to get the public attention and embarrass the government, and we have other things of a similar line planned over the next several months. Again, some of it arguably is technically breaking the law, but we are saying we are helping to enforce the law, helping to enforce international law. And clearly our tactics must be both creative. In 2003 and 2012, there were 3 incidents in which US military aircraft were damaged at Shannon Airport. Again, this is controversial. Many people are wary of causing damage. Some people think it's worse to cause damage to property than it is damage to people. I don't agree. I think our definition of violence, and my definition very clearly, is injury or death to people. Clearly, the peace movement must not get involved in violence of that sort. Damage to property, particularly military property, is very often justified in order to prevent further damage and the killing of innocent people. So I propose that the White Anti-War movement and the peace movement combines mass movement action with individual peace actions. So as they combine the cats and the sheep. The second most issue I'd like to raise is, and some of you may not agree with this, the anti-war movement is very much a left-wing movement against the right-wing in politics, or at least it's perceived as being such. I think most people here would actually describe themselves as being at least left of centre, including myself. I think there are probably very few of us would say we are slightly right of centre or significantly. And we frequently hear even today criticisms of capitalism and neoliberalism, justified criticisms, but such views I think are only justified if we're referring to the more extreme and abusive types of capitalism. I believe there's a large middle ground in politics across the world of people who are not Marxist necessarily orientated, but who support social democracy. And I believe we're not doing enough to attract this middle ground. Bringing back the welfare state, which was described by the likes of Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan, both in the UK and elsewhere across the world. There are also very many sound arguments against war, including economic arguments, economic anti-war arguments. A guy called Paul Horgan wrote a very good article recently in the New York Times, again from an economic point of view, arguing that war is almost always counterproductive from an economic point of view. We also need to look at the legal systems, take actions in the courts on the basis of local law, as Margaret and those did at Greenham Common, on the basis of national laws, preventing crime and failure of the police to prevent crime, and international laws. So Issues like war, neutrality, human rights are extremely important. And as my time is running out, I just end up by quoting a peace activist from Liverpool who said something along the lines of, "You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will live as one." Thank you.
Thank you very much, Edward, and thanks very much to the Irish colleagues for coming here and being a part of this weekend. It's very, very important. So you want to add something? Come on.
Just one small point. On the 12th of October, we're having a weekend at Shannon Airport to protest in various ways, including peace activism. We'd like any of you who are in the area to come and join us. And this will be a good one.
So there's another invitation that I'm sure many of us will want to take up. So thanks very much for that. Now, just